So this one is we've watched some of these videos before us from internet anarchists, and this is about Logan Paul. So this is only 4 days old, so it's only a couple days old. So it's saying the many victims of Logan Paul. I am curious what he means by that because I don't know if this is going to go into his crypto Zoom thing or if it's going to go into there was uh, um, his buddy where the comedian, I forget his name, was being creepy on him and he didn't back him up. So I'm a little curious where what he means by the many victims of Logan Paul. So he hide area. I heard yes, and they apparently it's been postponed because Mike Tyson had I think it was a problem with an ulcer and his doctor said he had to rest before beginning a light training regimen. So I know the fight was postponed, but I don't like it because, I watched Charlie comment on this, and he's right about this, is Mike Tyson's coming out the victor anyway. Jake Paul's fight. Yeah, Jake Paul, not Logan Paul, Jake Paul's fight. Um, sorry, but Mike Tyson's coming out the winner because if Jake Paul wins, he just beat up on, 50, 60-year-old man. Even though it's Mike Tyson's in his 50s or 60s at this point. I think his 60s. He's not in his prime. If he loses, he got beat up by an old man. Yeah. And that's what Charlie was saying. He's like, this is, he's all he does is fight retired fighters and boxers because probably if he were to try to take someone in their prime, he would get his ass kicked. He would probably get his ass handed to him if he tried to take on a fighter that's in his prime. So it's it's not going to look good for Jake no matter what the end result is. Wait, next phase retired Uber driver. I say, and honestly, it's kind of like, and I don't know if he's actually doing this, but it almost sounds like Jake Paul is trying to do a Andy Kaufman-esque thing. Because Andy Kaufman used to wrestle women. He would get in a wrestling ring, and you would have women come into the wrestling mat, into the ring with him, and he would wrestle women. And he would beat the shit out of them, basically. He would just throw them around and beat the shit out of them as a part of his, like, quote-unquote comedy act. It was a part of his shtick. So I have to wonder if Jake Paul is doing something similar, where he is, where he's fighting retired boxers to be his shtick. Bloody cars. People need to fix their mufflers around here. Yeah, I mean, Mike Tyson, despite being like in his 60s, if I remember right, he's still in great shape. And he's still going to be a beast of a boxer. But he is 60. Whereas Jake Paul is what be considered in his prime. So it's lose either way. Either Mike Tyson does the fight and loses, in which case they're like, well, yeah, he's 60. What do you expect? But he's still doing fantastic for his age. Or he wins and maintains that he's one of the best that ever was. Jake Paul is going to lose either way. Either he wins, and people go, great, you beat up an old man. What do you think, you're special? Or he loses, and it's you got your ass kicked by an old man. He's losing from a social standpoint any way you look at it. So it's silly, it's stupid, and somebody needs to rein Jake Paul in. But let's find out what his brother Logan is doing to piss everybody off. Not by me have to look too hard. Hey, in 3, 2, 1, let's roll.
From betraying his closest friends to repeatedly scamming his loyal viewers, Logan Paul's YouTube career is nothing short of a relentless spectacle of controversy. Wherever he steps, chaos ensues, lawsuits pile up, scandals explode, and countless victims are left in his ruthless pursuit of fame. Hi, I'm the Internet Anarchist. I create weekly YouTube documentaries, and today we'll be looking into the many victims of one of YouTube's most hated creators, Logan Paul, starting with what should have been Logan's closest companions, but ended up being nothing more than tools for personal profit. Throughout his time on YouTube, Logan has had a rather tenuous relationship with animals. On one hand, he's featured several pets in vlogs and seems to—
If this is gonna turn into animal abuse, he's gonna. I'm going to dislike him even more than I already do. Because at this point, I think Logan Paul is scummy because of what he did with CryptoZoo. And if he does something bad to these animals, I swear to God.
to genuinely care about them.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh,
Hi, girl.
gosh, this
Hi.
is my newest.
On the other hand, Logan has treated these animals as nothing but props in his videos, frequently abandoning, neglecting, or mistreating them when they've outlived their usefulness to him. One such instance of Logan not caring for his pets was the passing of his Pomeranian dog, after he and his roommates left
Got eaten by coyotes? I wonder if they're gonna talk about this. If that's Kong. If that was Kong that got eaten by coyotes. Oh God, I got a bad feeling.
the animal outside in a coyote-infested neighborhood.
I'm on the security cam footage and I see one of the biggest coyotes I've ever seen in my life. And we're all hoping so badly that we go outside the gate and we just see Kong sitting atop a dead coyote. Then I get the call from Andre and Mike. They're like, yo, you gotta come home. We have really bad news.
Remember, Logan was aware of the presence of predatory animals in his area, but failed to take the necessary steps to protect his pets from harm. He even admitted to allowing Kong to run out alone on multiple occasions.
Kong's ran away before, guys. If you're like OG Logang, you know Kong has ran out the gate like 3 times before we got a fence to stop him.
Another example of Logan's negligence with animals was with his pet parrot and mascot, Maverick. In July of 2019, the bird sadly suffered an accidental death after carelessly leaving him alone with his much larger dog, Ginger.
Ginger, I don't even, that's kind of graphic for right now.
What? What's graphic?
I have a bucket of his feathers here.
To make matters even worse, Logan immediately defaulted to plugging the deceased parrot's Instagram and merch only moments after he heard the news.
The pet that I've had for the longest time in my life, 7 years, at Maverick Parrot on Instagram, 1.3 million followers, 2.3 on the brand account. Dead? The bird I've had since 18, since I was a senior in high school before I started internet? You're saying that bird is gone and killed by my other pet, Ginger.
You might be
Jesus. This is scumbag behavior. This is just scumbag behavior. Yeah. Like, I understand that he's basically an online personality. He's basically streaming his whole life. And that's what allows him to basically not work, is to just stream his life. But you know what? If you lose an animal that you claim is that precious to you, let me put it this way. Several years ago, more than a few years ago, I had a cat. A cat that I adopted. When I first moved out on my own, and I was living on my own, I got a cat. I went to my local animal shelter, and I adopted the cat. And this cat, from the moment I brought her home, she was like a mama cat. Don't mean she was pregnant or had kittens or anything like that. It's the way she acted. She would constantly groom me. So, like, if I was laying in bed, she'd hop up in bed and she would groom me. She would groom my hair. And when I get home from work, she'd come over and she'd literally hop up on my shoulder and hang out on my shoulder as I'm putting my things away after getting home from work. I was incredibly close to her. And I had her for many years. And then, I got more pets, as, when I was able to move into a house at the time. I had, I had other pets, including, I had some dogs. And one day, shortly before I had to go to work, actually, I heard my cat just yell like she was in pain, and I went running to go see what happened. And I thought my dog had attacked. And so I immediately rushed her to an all-night vet clinic because this was late at night. I was working a night shift at my job, an overnight shift. And I immediately rushed her to a vet. And the vet examined her and came to find out she actually had cancer. And I never knew. She'd never exhibited any signs that she was ill. Apparently she had cancer. And we were at what just felt pretty much like the end stage of it. And the vet said we could do some really aggressive treatment and maybe she'll have a little bit life. Maybe she'll live a little bit longer and it would be very expensive. Or do the humane thing and euthanize. And so I made the hard choice. And I chose to put her to sleep to ease her pain. And it was one of the hardest things that I ever had to do. And immediately following that, I had to go to work. Because I couldn't take the day off because an animal died. This was, this is an employer, and back when the emotional toll of an animal dying wasn't considered by employers. And so I had to go to work after literally after 20 minutes after after putting my cat to sleep, I had to go to work. And it was the hardest night of my life. Because when I got home in the morning, I had to bury her. And I was devastated. I was crying, sporadically crying throughout the night when I was at work. And of course, when I buried her, I cried my eyes out. And it was one of the most difficult things I've ever had to do. Because she was my first real pet. She was the first pet I ever had. And I was really close to her. She was really special to me. And so I cannot imagine having, if his bird, Navrith, was a bird that he'd had since high school, and I'm guessing Logan Paul was in his mid-20s at that point. If he's had that bird since he was 18 and he was that close, like I was with my cat, it feels really telling how the first thing that he does is plug the bird's Instagram account and how many followers it has. I would be telling everyone with a camera on me to shut the fucking camera off so I could have myself a really good cry. If you lose a pet that's close to you, that's not for public consumption. Not initially. You could talk about it afterwards, but when happens, that's not for the public. I don't care if you're live streaming life. It's not for the public. So it kind of speaks to either how little he cared about that bird, or has he so has he just been so consumed by streaming that his default is to promote? And if that's the case, that's very troubling, because that's a psychological issue that's very troubling to me. I'm almost scared to keep going with this, but I'm gonna keep going.
Wondering what Logan did with Ginger following the incident? Well, he understandably sent the dog to a retraining center, but upon returning, he failed to process the trainer's advice and instead labeled Ginger as a quote bad dog.
Is she getting any better, or is she just still a bad dog?
She's not gonna be good in the structure that you have her at home, that's all. She's not a bad dog.
You're gonna be a good dog soon.
Till then, I will see you later, okay?
While you could argue these incidents were a result of incompetence on Logan's part, it's hard not to see a pattern when you look at how he abandoned his pet pig, Pearl, after she got too big for him to handle. On the 9th of January 2023, an animal sanctuary called the Gentle Barn would publish a TikTok video detailing the rescue of a pig they suspected was previously owned by an influencer. In the captions they wrote, Pearl was found alone in a field next to another pig who had passed away. She came to us with tattered ears and a potentially life-threatening infection in her uterus that has since been healed. From what we've been told, it's believed she was originally purchased from a breeder by an influencer. People often buy mini pigs or teacup pigs for clout.
Okay, I will say this is circumstantial. I will give benefit of the doubt here. We may see more. He may talk about more to further tie this in. But just saying, we believe he was purchased originally from a breeder by an influencer. Unless this pig is microchipped and you can trace it back in that way, that's all supposition. It's all guess.
Online. When they inevitably grow very large and have many unexpected needs, they're sadly discarded. The news of Pearl's rescue would make the rounds on social media, and people quickly realized that she was the teacup pig previously featured in Logan's social media posts. When confronted about this, Logan claimed that he rehomed Pearl to a ranch in Santa Clarita before moving to Puerto Rico, and that she was later relocated without his knowledge. Whether or not Logan was fully responsible with what happened to Pearl is unclear, but what we do know is that he didn't take into account just how much care the animal would need before abandoning her. Sadly, these pets wouldn't be the only ones to experience pain for being part of Logan's personal life, as his own brother suffered a similar fate. As siblings, Jake and Logan have naturally aggravated each other on different occasions. However, the pair would take their feud to a new level in May of 2017. It all started after Jake discovered his now ex-girlfriend, Alyssa Violet, had slept with Logan during a rough patch in their relationship. In light of this, Jake kicked Alyssa out of Team 10 and made a diss track titled It's Everyday Bro.
If they ain't with the crew, yeah, I'm talking about you begging for attention.
Wait, am I saying that correctly? So one brother slept with the other brother's girlfriend. Fantastic family dynamic here.
Not long after, Logan would react to the song and announce he'd made his own diss track.
I'm concocting lyrics in my head. Jake is so roastable. And one of the lyrics in Jake's song, he owns it. He's like, yo, I'm gonna roast myself. And I thought for sure he'd list like a couple things. But he said that he has less Instagram followers than me. Of course I have to rap about it. But like, bro, there's so many things, Jake. I thought we were brothers, bro. Like.
However, Jake would double down with another diss track, Low Gang Sucks, on the same day, which only fueled the feud between them. By the 4th of June 2017, Logan would respond with the first song of his own, a much harsher diss track titled The Fall of Jake Paul.
It should be every other day, just some strong advice. I made you famous once, it's about to happen twice. Yeah, you on Disney, but who helped you read all your lines? Me? Don't forget, boy, you were my shadow.
While there weren't any major blows being thrown yet, all that would change on the 10th of July 2017.
Maybe it's just me because I don't really like rap. I never understood the big deal about diss tracks. But it's probably because I don't really like rap. I never have. It's just not my personal music taste. But I never understood why, you know, I don't know, the concept of a diss track just feels foreign to me. And this is probably just me. I'm probably just very out of the loop on this because I don't really like rap, but I never understood the big draw for it. No rapper touched booty, but another rapper texting. It's not like they'll speak it out. Well, yeah, and it almost feels like the musical equivalent of shitposting online. It's the musical equivalent of shitposting on Facebook or Twitter. Which is, I guess, why it feels like, why? It's yelling into a void. And even if someone's responding back with their own diss track, or if you get like a response online, you're still effectively yelling into a void and hoping you'll find other people that will agree with you, that will respond back. And I don't know. It escapes me, but that could be just because because it's me and I just don't get that kind of thing. I have a much more simplistic view of things, I suppose, and it just doesn't make sense. I just never understood the draw for it or the reasoning behind it. It just feels like a bunch of empty shouting. But I guess in this case, it's obviously, he's doing it for his both of them are doing it for their followers. They're doing it for clicks, they're doing it for views because they post on YouTube, so they're doing it for monetization. That part I get. And I would wager a lot of it is probably just for like a lot of these quote unquote feuds, especially if all the feuds and the beefs are happening strictly on YouTube. I would always ask the question to myself, how much of this is being done strictly for clicks? That there's no actual beef or feud, it's being strictly done for clicks and for monetization. And in my cynical mind, a lot of it is. That the beefs or the feuds are not actually organic in nature. Because it doesn't feel, in my head, it doesn't feel like it's real. It doesn't feel like it's genuine. Like if you have a beef with someone, you don't do it through dueling YouTube videos or dueling online posts. If you have a beef with someone, you actually confront the person. Maybe not a person because you're not right there where the same person is, but like in a conversation, you actually speak to the person. You don't just create a post. You don't create a diss track. You actually speak to the person if you have a beef with them. So, I mean, it could be just me because I'm more direct like that, but I just never understood. I mean, it was always for views. Yeah, I kind of figured it was. That's the feeling I always got with any of these. It was just, it was all for clicks, all for views.
When Logan released the second half of the diss track, which saw him and his brother's ex seemingly kissing at the end of the song. Some would say Logan went too far with the second half of the song by bringing his brother's ex into the situation, while others would argue that Jake brought it on himself with the diss track he released first. Nevertheless, the Paul brothers would eventually patch things up by releasing the song I Love You Bro.
So sorry for things that I said. I just want to be friends.
Yeah, and there it is. It's It's a storyline. It's like the reality. This feels like, and it probably is, a reality TV show. A reality TV show, you have heroes, you have villains, you have story arcs. They're all manufactured. And that's what this feels like. This feels like a manufactured story arc, and this being the conclusion to this story arc that they made up, that they're brothers and that they made up. It's the current form of entertainment because let's face it, reality TV is bullshit and sucks anyway. So that's what it feels like this is, and it probably is that. Yeah, I imagine they probably, Kaboom, you're probably right. Somebody probably, their manager or something, said, hey, let's create tension to increase both of your views and bring in new audience. And we'll create this tension and we'll have a nice happy ending until the next problem needs to come up and we can manufacture that one too. Yeah, that's exactly what it does sound like, yes.
So let's make amends and be close till the end.
In the eyes of their fans, the entire situation was seen as a publicity stunt, but that doesn't seem to be the case considering the lingering bad blood in their boxing careers.
I'm gonna finish him off first. I gotta handle that business first.
We'll see, bro, because you definitely sniped the Nate Diaz fight from me, and I've been so lenient in giving you your opponents.
You haven't fought anyone. You don't fight. You don't fight real fights. It was just not your option to give me my opponents. You're not even a fighter. Like, you do exhibitions and lost like 4 years ago.
I think I'm better than you, and I think Nate chose you for a reason, and I think everyone knows that.
Speaking of Logan boxing, he would have a short-lived rivalry with Dylan Dennis that not just destroyed his career, but his reputation as well. For a bit of context, Dylan Dennis is known for 3 things. 1. Competing at a high level in combat sports. 2. Being friends with the legendary fighter Conor McGregor. And 3. Trash-talking his opponents. So in 2023, when Dylan was offered the chance to fight Logan Paul in the second main event of the X Series 10, you know he jumped at the opportunity. However, Dylan was only given the opportunity to fight and didn't receive any special promotion from the fight organizers. Regardless, Dylan thought up his own way to promote the biggest fight of his career, trash-talking both his opponent and his fiancée Nina Agdal.
Hey, you know I got props. I see Dylan got props. Hey, bro, that's creative. You come up with that yourself?
Right? Huh?
Was that the surprise that you told me about?
No, I got more, don't worry.
Oh, that's good. I choked out by a bouncer in a club.
Your girl got by 75 guys before you married her. Shut the up.
At the time, Logan had just
Wow. That was harsh. And I just want to say, and this may sound prudish, I never liked the trash talking with fighters. Like, it should, like, I understand the reasoning behind it, but martial combat is supposed to, at least partially, involve some kind of honor. Yeah, and that's the thing. They're with the trash talking, nobody seems really like a good guy. In combat sports like this, wouldn't it be interesting? Wouldn't it be a breath of fresh air if you had 2 fighters who actually showed respect to one another? Like, think that two fighters that in a setting such as this actually exhibited respect to one another. Or they said, so-and-so is a fierce opponent, but I'm still going to win the fight, or I'm still gonna knock them out. But if the actions show respect to their opponent, but that's not done anymore, because now it's all about the showboating. And unfortunately, people eat it up. Combat, the combat that this is derived from was there was a matter of honor and respect between the 2 warriors. And that's been lost a long time ago. And it's something that needs to come back. I think. I really wish it would. Well, yeah, the UFC really changed and, in a way, tarnished the fighting world. Because with the UFC, obviously, it's a much more brutal contest. And the fighters were encouraged to be more showboaty in the promotions, I think. I feel like they were encouraged to get more and more showboaty. See, I've never played any of the UFC games, so I couldn't tell you, but you're saying that 99% of it is doing training and doing fight. Yeah, and it's just like with the Madden games. Like there's components in the story mode of Madden games where you're doing like social media stuff. It's like, this is a football game. The whole purpose of it is you are supposed to be playing football. And yet you're doing stupid training montages, and you're doing social media TikTok dances and stuff like that. That's become way too much of a focus. It's like the social media aspect of everything has become way too much of a focus for everything. It really has. And it's one of the big issues I have with a lot of social media, especially the short form social media, is because it's killing attention spans and it's detrimental to how society at large is behaving, how it's shaping its behavior.
Gotten engaged, and Dylan knew the fastest way to draw attention to their fight wasn't by mocking his opponent's controversial past, but by instead making fun of his fiance's active modeling career and several alleged famous ex-boyfriends, sugar daddies, or hookups. In the weeks leading up to the fight, Dylan would post hundreds of tweets referencing Nina's time with her exes, like Leonardo DiCaprio and other provocative things she said on camera.
My gag reflex is pretty strong.
Okay.
It'll take a lot.
Okay. You went further.
As expected, Dylan's strategy worked. Not only was he receiving massive engagement on Twitter, but viewers were also on his side, as they took to Logan's comment section to clown on him even further. "Don't let our wife down, Logan. Logan's fiance is the ultimate celebrity leftover. Damn, Dylan made him train again." The fact Dennis had gained hundreds of thousands of Twitter followers and numerous podcast appearances leading up to the fight only encouraged him to continue. However, Logan wouldn't take these insults lying down, as he and Nina filed a lawsuit against Dylan for, quote, 2 counts of disclosure of intimate images and 1 count of invasion of privacy in relation to posts made on his social media accounts. This wasn't the only major...
Hi, Liz. How's it going? Are you busy ganking into Kate? You blowing up some poor, helpless community? Oh, good. You're being good, Lev, today. That's good. Oh, new monitor. I need a new monitor. I need to replace this 24-inch one with the 27-inch one. Whoa, nice. Nice. New monitor. You should get a new desk too. Because I want to get myself a nice new corner desk. I've had this corner desk of mine for like the last 5 years. I want to get a new one. I want to get something nicer. Oh, no? Let's see. Hang on. I don't want to go showing too much of your stuff on stream here. Oh, that's it. Damn, Lev. Okay, if you don't mind me showing this, I'm showing it. Holy shit, Lev. Like, that's a nice setup. Holy shit. You got a 4-monitor setup? You got the mouse for your I didn't think you did a hands-on stick and stick. Oh no, that's right. I remember you mentioned you did a hands-on. You've got your stick, and this is the fine-tuned throttle. This is the fine-tuned throttle. Yeah, but isn't the one here in the middle? Isn't this like your fine tuning when your flight assist off? Is that what that is? And then this is like your regular throttle? Yeah, for the real space. Okay, yeah, this is your fine tuning. Okay. Damn. That's a pretty setup. That's a very pretty setup. Them is an elite pilot in Elite Dangerous, if you guys are wondering why I'm gushing over this. Which one? You split this one for IRC and Discord, or this one? Because this looks like two monitors. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Oh my goodness. This is a setup. Yeah, I'll bet you. I will bet you. Damn, boy. Well, I'm sure you're already gushing in chat in IRC. We'll talk about it afterwards. Oh yeah, don't even start on your 4090 because you're already making me jealous. Me with my dinky little 3060. Yeah, I'm sure you do.
A blow dealt to Dylan's career, as the day their fight came, Logan completely decimated him. For all of his trash talk, Dylan barely put up a fight when the time came, only landing 9 punches throughout the entire match. To make matters even worse, this was Dylan's first professional fight in years, and would apparently be his last, as he retired from fighting not long after. For the majority of their time together, Logan was the victim of frequent harassment, but once the gloves were on, Dylan was humiliated and made the real victim. Unfortunately, Logan seems to have a pattern of humiliating people.
Well, okay, here's the thing. I wouldn't call that making him the victim. They got into a match, and he won. He was the better fighter. That's not making him a victim. That's basically just him not being able to put his money where his mouth is. So I disagree with him being labelized as a victim on that.
On camera, as seen with his former co-host George Jenko, who was made a verbal punching bag numerous times on the Impulsive podcast. While George Jenko's position in the Impulsive podcast as the third host added a fresh and nuanced perspective to the show, it hadn't been smooth sailing. Ever since his introduction to the show in episode 219, George has struggled to prove himself as a worthy host, and whenever he failed to do so, he'd be made the butt of every joke.
I read the Bible a lot when they talk about David and Goliath. I've never seen a giant, and so like I'm literally just, I'm a little taken.
You've been sitting over here for 30 minutes and that's all you can freaking say? Fucking kidding me.
No, he's not gonna say
That's the question. Jeez.
I'm just sitting,
Are you drunk?
Not yet. Not yet. We're gonna get Edgy George later tonight.
Things would only get worse with each subsequent episode, until they reached a boiling point on episode 351, which featured the
Yeah, and this is the one that this is the one we saw where he really made him uncomfortable.
infamous comedian Bobby Lee.
There are certain. He is clocked out.
Yeah,
I know.
George has been under a tremendous amount of abuse. No, stop, George. I want you over here with me. George, I want you over here with me. Chase him down. Go. You find him.
Looking at that clip alone, you'd assume George was overreacting and stormed off over a harmless joke. However, that wasn't the case. Let's take it back to 2019. It was a regular day. Two family men, Jermaine and Ross, were driving down a road when suddenly a truck driver rear-ended the car behind them, which then slammed into theirs. The damages went beyond a simple car repair, as both Jermaine and Ross suffered injuries.
Well, and it's also like, here's the thing. Like, I didn't see that podcast because I don't watch Logan Paul. But you know, if you're in the presence of essentially a celebrity and you're not used to this, you can potentially be a little shell-shocked. You don't know what to say. Because you're like, this is, a famous guy, and you don't want to offend him by asking something stupid. And in the meantime, your two other co-hosts are probably just asking question after question after question. Maybe they had prepared questions, and he didn't. Because it sounds like he was the odd man out, and they just kind of had him as extra coloring on their panel to give a third face. I don't know. But it's, yeah, from the sound of it, he was getting the short end of the stick for a lot of it. And with that thing with Bobby Lee, what they didn't show is that Bobby Lee was making him incredibly uncomfortable in the minutes leading up to that, and neither of the other two were doing anything to mitigate this. They weren't backing him up at all. So, in that context, it's not a surprise that he's spooked. Now, what this is, I'm not sure where it's leading up, because this is some time before.
Injuries which impacted their daily lives moving forwards. Generally, the process to seek compensation for the injuries would be extremely overwhelming, with time-consuming processes and large upfront costs. However, they decided to go with Morgan & Morgan, who not only sponsored this video, but won them both an $8 million joint verdict, changing their lives forever. When you're seriously hurt, your injury could be worth millions. Morgan & Morgan don't settle for lowball offers, and their verdicts speak for themselves, with a recent $12 million in Florida.
Now that's a sneaky way to get an ad in.
Offer, as well as $26 million in Philadelphia, which was 40 times the highest insurance offer. Working with Morgan & Morgan is a no-brainer. You can do it all from the comfort of your own home.
Honestly, I didn't know that this was the internet anarchist. Can't recall ever seeing his real face and his real face. I didn't know that was him. I was not expecting him to look like that. His voice definitely does not match his face. I'm very surprised.
Throughout the podcast, George was subjected to countless inappropriate jokes from Bobby and...
Okay, Wagyu, I'll see you. I'll see you next time. Thanks for coming by.
barely had the opportunity to participate in the conversation.
This put me on a very strong map, and it made a lot of my avenues blow up. So I'm very blessed, but I didn't know I was gonna be here. So
it's like that's... Are you done? It was just a long monologue.
He was just waiting.
Let me just say something. I loved what you were saying. It was just very long.
Guests wouldn't be the only ones to make fun of George, as Logan would join in to humiliate someone he called his best friend in the worst way possible.
Not uncomfortable. Whoa, that's fucked up. Put your hand back on his leg, Bobby.
Yeah. Does that make you feel uncomfortable?
No.
Oh, it's so close.
Wait.
While Logan and George would later apologize to one another and mend their relationship, things wouldn't be the same. In the following months, George would appear less and less on the Impulsive podcast until he stopped showing up altogether. The next time viewers heard anything about George on the Impulsive podcast was when Logan made a disparaging comment about his friend's new ventures.
I love this outlet and it exists because people watch, and without people watching, I just have a show like
In response, George would make a tweet describing his time at the Impulsive podcast.
Yeah, he really values his friends, doesn't he? Granted, the few times that I have seen Logan Paul, like, on something, he always looked like a complete twat to me. He did. He looks and sounds like one, and I honestly don't know why people gravitate towards him and watch his shit. He seems like a complete asshole. He's a scam artist and a criminal. And yet people still flock to him. I never understood that. But then again, I think logically. Most of the time I try to think logically, and so maybe that's my fault, that I think logically.
Podcast as, quote, toxic. To the Impulsive fans, I'm so sorry I can't speak about things. Not my choice. I do love you guys, and for those of you sending me the clip of them talking shit, it's all love. I've already moved on from that toxic environment. A few weeks later, George revealed more about what was really going on behind the scenes with Logan and his legal team.
Okay, but what is the biggest, on a serious note, what is the biggest misconception of you and what happened there that that bothered you? And it's not true. And maybe they got that misconception because of the way you were editorialized or...
I'm really not, they very much made it clear that I'm not allowed to speak up about things. So I can't even.
Legally?
Yeah.
Was this I didn't know that you guys were in a legal...
Well, he likes to tend to argue with me. And so he argues with me on the podcast and about things. And I think I said, okay, then how about we discuss this, what you've guys done. Let's talk about this. And he goes, yeah, do it. And then I go, okay. And so I tweeted out, I wasn't going to talk out of respect for the man. So, and then his attorneys hit me up and said, hey, let me remind you about the stuff you've signed. And I said, okay.
So it was bad.
Yeah, so they pinned him down with an NDA, which is the bully's tool in this kind of business. They pinned him down with an NDA. So if something bad happens, he can't talk about it. And Will, I mean, he signed the NDA probably because he was seeing dollar signs. He was going to be on Logan's ball show, so he probably thought he was going to be getting paid well. Probably didn't expect to get abused the way he did. And it's Hollywood. You know, this is a subset of it. It's absolutely a subset. It's not Hollywood proper, but it's a subset of that. And if you go into it, especially with someone else, you have to go in anticipating this. You have to go in with a backup plan in mind. Or you have to create one if things change. You can't go in terms of this kind of business. Can't trust anybody. Because you see what happens. He probably trusted Logan Paul. Because I guess maybe he was his friend, but there are no friends in show business. And you have to protect yourself, first and foremost. Logan Paul did. He protected himself by making sure that George couldn't talk because of an NDA. So George should have done something to protect himself, and he didn't. And that's why he can't talk about anything.
Bad enough that Logan and his editorial system misrepresented George, but the fact they were trying to keep him from sharing his side of the story was just horrible. Fortunately for George, he'd get to speak his mind during a podcast with one of his former co-hosts, Mike.
But by the way, and I'll just say this, we'll just empty it out. I never had a problem with Bobby Lee.
No, he knows
I had a problem with the way that Logan and you were kind of gassing him to keep doing. He started the episode putting his balls in my face. I let that one go. Then every 2 seconds, he kept grabbing my dick.
I don't think...
How would you feel if a man that has his back completely towards you, that only turns around to grab your dick,
right,
talk shit to your face, and you can't smack or beat the living brakes off of this guy? Because Logan makes me apologize to this man, or I don't have a job on Impulsive anymore. How fucking crazy is that?
Not only did Logan allow that to happen, but he later made it clear that George wasn't even supposed to be talking to the guest.
But after the episode, do you remember when you called me? And I said, Mike, this is all that happens. And you said, verbatim, you said, it's our fault for not telling you this, but me and Logan are really the ones who should be talking to the guest. You are really there for a boys only episode. So while I get sexually harassed.
So I'm curious if this word is going to get tossed in here. He was a token. With George Janko, I don't know what his ethnicity is. I'm not even going to speculate on it. But he was basically the token guy. And that's why I said before that he basically was brought onto the show to add, quote unquote, like some color. Not from a racial perspective, but just, excuse me. But just as like another face to fill out what's on screen. And that was his only job. Honestly, they probably would have. I'm honestly a little surprised they didn't bring in some attractive girl to sit there instead. It was something pretty to look at while the men are talking. With Logan Paul, it kind of went. I wouldn't be surprised if he did that. And maybe he did on other podcasts. because they were just saying him something about a boys-only podcast. So maybe on some of his other podcasts, he did exactly that. He'd have a pretty girl sitting in that chair instead to have, a pretty fixture for people to look at. Who knows? I haven't watched Logan Paul's podcast. I never will. But he was a token. That's all he was. He was a token. He was a prop for Logan Paul to use and then discard when his usefulness came to an end. Kind of like his pets.
My other co-host is trying to fire me, and you're trying to leverage me to be quiet during other guests. And then on my birthday, you guys shot 3 episodes, so I couldn't show up.
I just think
on my 30th birthday, you shot 3 episodes.
I think
that's crazy. It was on the calendar for months.
I think by the time we got there was so much like confusion and
now he's backpedaling and eating shit as fast as he can. I don't know if he's still with Logan or not, but he's backpedaling and eating shit as fast as he can right now. Because he knows he's complicit. He's either complicit or he's in partnership with Logan for what he did, and he doesn't want to own up to the fact that he was a piece of shit. Which is difficult. So that's why he's backpedaling saying there's so much confusion. Now there wasn't. That's an excuse. That is 100% an excuse, and that's him trying to cover his ass right now so he doesn't look like an asshole on YouTube. Honestly, and I want to say I'm surprised that guys like him still have a platform, but I shouldn't be, because his audience revels in this kind of, slow car crash kind of thing. They love the drama. They love that kind of stuff. So I honestly can't say I'm surprised. Disappointed? Yes. Surprised? No, not really.
disarray in the podcast that there was no coming back.
To make matters even worse, Logan was actively trying to extend his control over George's business and dictate which sponsors he could and couldn't have.
Can I speak for a second, please?
Well, yeah, I mean...
So, when I get that call, and I tell him, I go, Logan, I get it, bro. And I fully told him, I go, listen, man, like, I will take half the deal that Celsius gives me. Half. If you want to put it on the table for my show, a quarter, work with me. He says, I won't pay you a dime. You're here because of me. And then I said, well, what do you want me to do for my bills, bro? I got no money. And he says, go have your rich dad pay for it.
Listen,
that's fighting words, bro. Look at me. That's fighting words, bro. You don't bring up somebody's father.
Even after stifling George's growth on Impulsive, Logan still wanted to have a say over his business despite not being willing to help him in any way. When confronted with this information, Logan had this to say.
I got my show going, and then not only was I controlled and pushed around on Impulsive, but then Logan's making calls and directing my show. He told me that I couldn't take Celsius.
So this is the big one. Making calls, trying to make it seem like I wanted to control his show is absolutely ridiculous. As you can see right here, I was like, hey, we got to get you Prime because I saw him drinking our competitor, and he told me to call him. He was filming my reaction to tell me he took a deal with a competitor. I told him, please don't film. Like, I'd like to talk about this. I hope you're joking, by the way. The truth is, I thought it was a bad look that my best friend and co-host took a brand deal with our competitor without consulting me, asking me, giving us even a chance to match it before he signed the deal, because the audience that he's building, at least at the time, on his own podcast was being funneled directly from the podcast that I was building with him. I said, hey, dude, I understand you need to make money.
Okay, let's actually read this because he's rapid firing this. He doesn't let you read. Totally understand you have to do what you have to do, and I support your decision. I respect the fact that you're focusing on your platform, and I understand you have to pay the bills. Sorry, Impulsive isn't enough for that. Just like you're doing it up for yourself, I do the same. My business partners and I don't find it appropriate to promote one of our biggest competitors. I'm excited to watch you build your podcast, and if the deal is up and you want to come on Impulsive, the invite is open. I'd like to talk about how to move forward this amicably on social because talking and move forward this amicably on okay. We can avoid the lane public back and forth and handle this in a mature way that our 8 years of friendship deserves. Support and will drive to drive the show. Something that has long-term success. We will always be friends first. This is just business. I'm excited to see you in WrestleMania at my birthday dinner.
The entire text is right here that I sent him after our conversation because I did understand his position if he needed to make money, but I thought it was also a little odd because he did.
Actually, I want to see what that first text was. After my disappointment at 3 p.m., want to go see John Wick 5. Bro, we gotta get you prime. Don't drink our competitor, you goose. Okay. So he had someone else's can in his hand, not full. Witty, this kind of shit boggles my mind, and this is why going into this kind of business, if you are not in charge, sucks. Because this little guy is trying to dictate every aspect of his life. He's trying to tell him literally what to drink. And for me, that's a no-go. That's a no-go. If you're gonna try and tell me what I can or cannot drink, like if I happen to have, if you're gonna give me shit because a photo is taken and I happen to have a beverage in my hand that is not a brand that he sells, and he's gonna say something and talk about, oh, that's our competitor. No, and which is one reason why I won't get involved with stuff like that. Granted, I'm just this piddly little Twitch streamer right now, and I won't ever. I have serious doubts that I'll ever get to the level where I'm, doing my own beverage or something like that. But just this tight-fistedness of trying to control someone's life like this is just so scummy. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible that you try to control someone's life like this. This person is not your slave. They are a human being that can do whatever the fuck they want. And yeah, you've got NDAs so they can't talk about it. But if they're going to try and further their own career because you are not, because you are doing everything you can to stymie their career, and they're realizing, I'm not going anywhere with this. I've got to do what's right for me and do something better. Sucks to be you, bro. Eat your shit and move on. You fucked up. You've lost this person because you treated them like shit. Sucks to be you. No sympathy. Move on.
After our conversation because I did understand his position if he needed to make money, but I thought it was also a little odd because he did make $317,000 in 15 months. Regardless, I did tell him I can't have him on impulsive if he's gonna take.
Yeah, $317,000 in that amount of time. What were his bills? You guys aren't exactly living frugally. You guys live like fucking rock stars. That costs money. The cars you buy, the houses you buy, all of the toys you put in those houses, all of the traveling you do. $317,000 actually sounds like a small amount because I'm used to people like this talking about how they take in millions to be able to support all of the rich shit that they do. So sorry, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying your choose. Oh, you made $317,000. Yeah, how much of it went to bills and to promote into the business and things like that? Conveniently not talking about that, are we? No, because then it would kill your entire argument.
To deal with the competitor, but if after he makes the money he wants to come back to the podcast, he's more than welcome.
In his response, Logan avoided addressing the majority of George's points and seemed to prioritize his image in business over his friend's well-being. A few hours later, George made a short video challenging Logan to give the full story of what happened between them.
Dang, first of all, happy Mother's Day before I get into this drama because I gotta go take my mom out. I'm having a splendid day today. Second, yo, your TikTok is cute, bro. It's cute. I get it. You're doing your best to show face. Do whatever you need, bro. Like, talk to your team, do whatever you need. But when you want to be a man, come talk to me like a man. Let's sit down like men and talk about it. Mike did it. Mike's a real man. He had the chance to come, sit, talk, show all of his points of views, brother. You could bring camera, you could bring your attorney, bro. Come sit on the couch and talk to me like a man. Let's talk, bro. Because obviously you want to talk. Let's talk. Come talk to me, bro.
Logan has no problem betraying his friends, pets, and family members for selfish gain. However, the people who suffered the most to line Logan's pockets were the ones that gave him his platform in the first place, his fans. On the 18th of August 2021, Logan announced a new crypto project that he spent the last 6 months working on, called CryptoZoo.
I think there needs to be a fresh take in this project.
And here we go. I'm honestly very surprised that his fan base, that he still has a fan base after this insane debacle. I saw this on CoffeeZilla, and this was insane what he did. The level of scam on this one was incredible.
That I have is that fresh take. September 1st, cryptozoo.co. I am so excited about this project. It's so fun. Provides a yield with a token, can earn you money. I think my game is gonna make some waves. Stay on the lookout for CryptoZoo.
The play-to-earn model wasn't uncommon in the NFT space, and was the hallmark of many scam projects. The way CryptoZoo worked was that players used real-world money to buy zoo tokens, which they could then spend to buy NFT eggs. Once hatched, players could crossbreed these animals to make unique hybrids, which could earn them more zoo tokens. These details should have raised immediate red flags. However, Logan's fans looked past that and trusted his bold words, despite already allegedly.
Well, here's I'm talking about Logan Paul fans, who probably don't have a clue about crypto in the first place, which is what the majority of these types of individuals count on, is they throw out a whole ton of buzzwords saying you can make lots of money, but they don't actually, the people that they're selling to don't actually have the first clue about crypto, or they have maybe a tiny amount of knowledge of crypto, but not enough to make an actual informed decision, and it's predatory. They prey on people like this.
Scamming them just months prior.
What up, Dink Doink Telegram? It's me, Logan Paul. This is a shit coin I believe in. It's my favorite one, to be honest. Dink Doink is so much more than a meme coin. It's a multimedia coin. And as a holder in Dink Doink, I believe in this shit. I think it's gonna go crazy. Some of my friends, celebrities as well, gonna get involved in episodes, doing voiceovers from cartoon stuff. It's fucking Dink Doink, bro.
By the 1st of September 2021, Logan launched the first phase of CryptoZoo, which allowed fans to buy zoo tokens. Within the first 24 hours, Logan's fans spent over $2 million, and the game was yet to launch. People were working off nothing but trust in Logan's promises, and unfortunately, they'd soon be disappointed. In the coming months, users noticed that they could neither hatch the eggs nor yield anything from them. The egg.
And this is play stupid games, win stupid prizes. My gut instinct is to say, you know what, if you're stupid enough to fall for the scam, you get what you get. But at the same time, I understand these are largely people who probably don't understand crypto. And I don't want to fault them for the lack of knowledge, because this is something of specialized knowledge. This is not like understanding basic finances. This is not understanding savings. It's not understanding checking. It's not understanding how regular money works. Crypto is a wild west. It's unregulated. And it's extremely volatile, which is one reason why I've never even considered getting into crypto. It's extremely volatile, and it does not make for... It's more volatile than the stock market. And I've said it before, crypto is nothing but the stock market 2.0. It's just essentially a stock market full of made-up currency. It's like you're not even holding stock in a company. It's essentially a manufactured currency that, for whatever reason, so many people have agreed, yeah, this exists. We're gonna say this is currency. But a lot of people don't get it. A lot of people don't understand it. And he's marketing, because it's like a game. He's marketing to these people who are not educated on crypto by marketing it as a game. And they bought it to the tune of $2 million. And look what happened.
Were effectively worthless. As such, the value of the zoo token plummeted in price, and Logan's fans were left holding the bag. Over the next year, Logan would say next to nothing about the project and even start promoting other crypto. The only news Logan gave to fans was that the source code for the project was allegedly stolen by one of the lead developers.
There's a lot of shady characters in the crypto space. I'm learning all of it. We had an issue with Crypto Zoo where our lead developer took the code that he made, fled to Switzerland, and like held it hostage for $1 million.
As you'd expect, Logan wasn't willing to take accountability for his actions, but that was about to change. On the 17th of December 2022, CoffeeZilla released part 1 of 3 in a documentary series exposing what was really happening with Crypto Zoo.
Logan. And by the way, that was a great series Coffee did. If you haven't, you should check it out. He really digs into it. Coffee is someone that understands the crypto space. He's probably one of the few journalists out there that will actually investigate the crypto space fairly and actually give me the facts in a way that you can understand what he's talking about. That's why I think Coffee is one of the few great journalists out there right now.
You stole 40 million in tokens from me. You are a scam artist. You are a liar, and you betrayed your own community. You aren't that guy. Logan replies, "Oh, trust me, bro. I am that guy."
After conducting a thorough investigation and interviewing countless people involved in the project, CoffeeZilla discovered that the main factor behind CryptoZoo's failure was Logan refusing to pay developers and hiring numerous shady individuals to handle development. The news of Logan's actions spread like wildfire, and in a bid to save face, he responded by attacking CoffeeZilla.
I watched your 3-part series called Investigating Logan Paul's Biggest Scam, and like many on this platform, you have successfully used my name for views and money. While your work used to be impartial, your addiction to click.
Ow. Pot beat kettle. The deflection here is strong with this one. Because I'm gonna wait and see what he has to say with the rest of this.
Clicks has clouded your judgment, and you've made very real errors with very real repercussions.
Naturally, this move backfired massively, forcing Logan to not only delete his response, but make an apology as well.
CoffeeZilla is not a criminal. I called him, I apologized. My initial response to his series was that of fire, and ego, pride. I'm a fighter at heart. I was defensive because I know I never scammed anyone.
To make things...
So sorry, but not sorry. Sorry, but not sorry. Yeah, which is exactly the kind of response I would expect from Logan Paul. He's not any apology that I can recall him ever giving, which is not many, have always been backhanded or sounding very fake. I don't think I would never ascribe the word genuine to anything that he has ever done. Ever. You know, I don't follow him, but I've seen, clips and stuff like that of him throughout the years. And nothing ever feels genuine. He is 100% on all the time for the cameras. So he 100% sounds fake. Goodbye. No, that's one bot from the street. Wonder if we're gonna get more today. All right.
Right, Logan promised to refund the Crypto Zoo holders and to finish the Crypto Zoo game.
We want to offer a rewards program for players who are disappointed in the status of the game. And step 3, obviously finish and deliver the game as outlined in the white paper. There's a full internal investigation going on along with an audit, and we are going to pursue full legal action for whomever needs to be held accountable. If any money is recovered in the process, it'll go right to the community.
However, this would prove to be yet another lie. Friendly reminder that Logan still hasn't paid back anyone and blocks anyone on Twitter who brings it up. The fans that brought into Logan's scheme allegedly lost tens of millions of dollars and is currently battling a class action lawsuit for defrauding investors. Ironically, he'd recently offered a partial refund program, but with the stipulation that you'd waive your right to sue him for previous damages. If it's not clear by now, Logan Paul only cares about one thing: himself. It seems he'd throw his own family or close friends under the bus if it meant he could garner more views or even earn a little bit more money. He'd discard pets once they were no longer useful and defraud his own fans to boost his net worth. In the past, people assumed Logan was on the road to redemption, but considering his recent actions, he's nowhere near the start of that journey. However, Logan still has a platform, unlike Def Noodles, who Penguin Zero completely destroyed. Click the video on screen to find out how.
So, yeah, it's like, wait, I've always, it begs the question of Logan Paul's upbringing, which I have no idea about, because it almost feels like he was brought up in, him and his brother, more so him, in a household where image is everything. Because it seems like he's always, like I said before, he's always in front of a camera. So he's always on, which is why when his pet was killed, the first thing he brings up is the Instagram. And why he's always all about, why are you looking at someone else's brand? And I would be very curious to find out what his upbringing was like. Because it really feels like possibly a big portion of his upbringing had to do with, a big part of his upbringing involved, being told that your image is everything. How people would perceive you is everything. Now, I don't know. Again, I'm guessing. This is 100% guess. I'm not accusing Logan Paul of anything one way or the other. This is just my observations as an outside viewer to this. Just as someone with no skin in this game, no dog in this fight. That's what it looks like from an outside viewpoint. Now, I don't know how many others feel the same way, but that's what it feels like.